Natalie, we asked you to bring a personal review in with you today that was either a harsh critic or an MVR, which is a most valuable reviewer.
Which is basically a negative or a positive review that you have personally received. And then, just like before, we will
assess that 𝐾𝐽.
Then, after Trey and I have crowned, we will ask you to share with us what the personal impact of this review was on you. So, Natalie, what have you asked Trey to read today?
So in 2014, 8 years ago, I was doing 2 cabarets at this Houston venue, like Monday and Tuesday, and the morning of the second show on a Tuesday, I got a tweet from the reviewer that said, check this out, Natalie. And so I clicked on it. Long story short, you'll hear the review. My best friend yelled at me and said, Natalie, why are you Googling your name? And I said, I didn't. They tweeted it at me.
Ugh. Okay.
So I was like, what's this?
All right.
And so you got this. So this is a harsh critic, and you got this the morning before.
I had to do another show. The exact same concert.
God. Okay.
All right. So this is a Broadway World cabaret review.
Okay.
And the subject is Natalie Weiss's personality overshadows vocal talent in Houston cabaret.
Okay.
This is written by David C.
Okay.
Here we go. As a YouTube sensation, many are familiar with Natalie Weiss's voice and face, and the largely teenage/early 20s audience last night couldn't be more enthusiastic to see her perform live. Yet, somewhere along the way, her abrasive personality overshadowed her vocal talent. Don't get me wrong, the brash New Englander is my favorite form of American. I enjoy the stereotypical confidence and charisma of the typical Northeasterner. However, when one comes on stage to sing for an audience, that is what I expect to happen. It's easy enough to forgive the 17-minute delay at the beginning of the concert. Well, that is until the first act wrapped in about 35 minutes. The second act dragged out a bit longer as Natalie Weiss added a song to the set not included in the program. She also returned for a 3-song encore. Even with this, the concert still ended at the stroke of 10 p.m., meaning between banter and singing, last night's audience got approximately 88 minutes of Natalie Weiss on stage. Moreover, Natalie Weiss's banter didn't really hook the audience in Houston. It took almost the entirety of the first act for the crowd to warm up to her. Before the Act 1 closer, she read actual messages from her OkCupid inbox. This was Natalie Weiss at her most genuine. In these moments, she didn't seem like she was putting up a front. I get that, quote, all the world's a stage, and her job is to perform. However, the beauty of an intimate cabaret concert is that you get to be real. Others treat the experience like they are performing in their living room for long-lost friends, and that dynamic is what seemed to be missing the most from last night's concert. Moreover, her encore was a fun selection of audience favorites. It started with a lovely take on Bring Him Home from 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐫, but the song fell apart for me at the end when she added needless riffs. She followed this with her rendition of Let It Go from Disney's Frozen, which the audience had been clamoring for since the show's beginning. What? Then she closed with her take on Demi Lovato's Skyscraper. I can't deny that the vocal performances she offered were thrilling. Natalie Weiss also deftly delivered many an impressive vocal riff. Opening with a cover of Titanium, she made the performance fun by walking through the crowd to get to the stage. Her Spark of Creation from Children of Eden was captivating, as was her On Monday from Ryan Scott Oliver's 35mm. My favorite performance of hers was the energetic and colorful mashup she did of Destiny Child's Bugaboo and TLC's No Scrubs. Even with the impressive vocals, her need to stop and restart some songs, parentheses, except when she choked on water, got in the way of her performances. It also rubbed me the wrong way when she called out David Lerner on the drums twice for missing cues. I understand fully that she had less than 1 week to rehearse with her band. At least she tried to cover it in jest, attempting to make a joke out of it by more or less welcoming the audience to her quote-unquote casual open rehearsal. However, it was her declaration of, quote, usually I don't do this. Normally I can't talk by now, at the beginning of the encore that really raised my ire. Every voice lesson teacher I've ever had would remind her that if she was doing some solid vocal warm-up and properly supporting and singing from her diaphragm, that she'd be able to sing, belt, and riff on 15 songs every night for weeks on end without having to worry about the fact that she has concerts on 2 consecutive nights. With that said, Natalie Weiss's concert in Houston wasn't a total bust. The audience got to hear some sturdy vocal performances. The teenagers and young 20-somethings got to see one of their heroes perform live. Everyone had some laughs. However, I'd hazard a guess that Natalie Weiss, who seemed truly to be performing for herself, had the most fun last night.
I'm so mad at David S. I'm so mad at David C. I need to take a breath.
Me too.
Wait, another really super long review, but I'm curious because I feel like David contradicts themselves because they say this is a chance to be casual in your living room with your friends, and then later is how dare her be casual?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Wait, how dare her? Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna.
Yeah. So, okay, I have so many thoughts. Now, first of all, his assessment is so incorrect and so contrarian. In moments, he's acting as if it was bad, nothing happened, I was turned off by this, but then proceeds to list a bunch of things that he likes. He also says that the audience as a whole, because suddenly they've all hired him to be the spokesperson of their experience, thought that it was boring and weren't on board until a certain point, but then was they got to see their hero and they were so excited and we all had some laughs. I'm sorry, STFU, David C.
Wait, I literally was going to mention that because literally it's the first sentence. It says, first of all, David approaches this whole thing as an outsider, which I think is a bizarre point if you're trying to review something.
Correct.
But they separate themselves from the audience, which I think is bizarre. But they say everyone couldn't be more enthusiastic to see her perform live. That's the first sentence.
And
but then
go ahead.
One other little thing that jumped out to me is, vocalists like Natalie have impressive ranges. And so when you see them in a concert, they mention how the audience was clamoring to hear Let It Go, which how do you know that? But
right.
Let It Go, I think there's maybe a handful of people that can sing that.
Yeah.
And then here we go. It says, Let It Go, Skyscraper. Natalie holds a G sharp or something crazy. It's Titanium. That's Jennifer Hudson, Sia, crazy people sing. That's not an easy song.
No.
It's all of these songs, the spark of creation, they are at the most highest range, full voice belt.
Yeah.
And then I also, it is a huge task to sing these songs. It's not like Natalie's going out singing lullabies.
Right. So
I don't understand the whole judgment about her offering 3 songs as an encore and saying oh God, making a joke that her repertoire is hard to sing.
There are so many things in this review that are contradictory, so I immediately don't trust the author. I also really hated the entire section where they were talking about if she knew the proper way to sing, she wouldn't have trouble singing these songs, literally talking about technique. And all of a sudden, Natalie doesn't have the technique to get through these songs. Give me a break, David C. I want to see you get up there and sing all of those songs and not have a moment where you need a minute, need water. I was like blessed enough to see Whitney Houston live in concert with my elbow on the stage. She spit all over me. It was like the experience of my lifetime. And she had to take many minutes to be like, oh, that was a song. Give me a second. I'm going to have some water. Like, give me a break, David C. What is it that you're expecting? I don't think you're honoring the crowd of people that are going to this show that want to be there. And if you don't want to be
that's-
there, then you shouldn't be there. And that's why I don't trust him.
Well, that's why I also think there's something wrong with the value here, because if you're recognizing that everyone in attendance is like losing their minds,
Yeah.
then that's who is interested in reading a review.
Exactly.
So the value that you're adding
0.
feels mean, like,
Yeah.
and unnecessary.
Completely unnecessary. I mean, again, we wouldn't know this if we had just come across this review, but knowing on top of it that he wrote this asinine review, which to me has 0 value. And then he decided, I'm going to write this asinine review and tweet it to the artist. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
F you.
I mean, I'm curious what's behind that, because
Like,
it seems like they
I'm
recognize
telling you.
this is mean.
Transference.
So, okay, obviously spelling and grammar is great because I'm sure Broadway World has an editor.
Yeah.
And the truthful shady, I mean, I think it's shady. I think they're just
Shady.
intentionally like being like superior, like having a superior attitude and like wanting to be mean.
Yeah.
Like it comes across as shady. Common experience or fluke. I mean, based on the fact that David C. excludes themselves from the crowd makes me think this is not a common experience.
Correct.
Oh, is that something you guys do with all the reviews? I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then humor, were you entertained? I mean,
No. I was like stunned to silence. So no, I was not entertained. I think it's disgusting. I'm mad.
final question before we crown is, what's the impact? Is this a deal breaker?
No.
It's interesting because I think the intention of the review actually is flipped for me because it makes me feel defensive of the artist.
Yes.
And that the person writing it didn't get it.
Correct.
And that's really maddening. And that happens, it is interesting because this is about an art form. So then it gets subjective and people see what they want to, it's different than a review of a toothbrush.
Correct.
So that starts to feel like, is this a deal breaker for me?
No.
I think it's a deal breaker for me for reviews from this reviewer.
Agreed. Totally agree.
All right. Well, I'm ready to crown. Do you want to crown?
I'm ready to crown, yes.
All right. Here we go.
All right, let's do it.
The queens are tabulating. Total score.
All right. Okay. I'm committing a show first. I want you to know,
Show
Natalie.
first.
This is a show first, and I am giving David C. 0 crowns. 0 crowns. And Trey is holding up half of a crown. Yep. Trey.
So tell us about the show first.
Oh, you want to? Okay, I'll go first. The show first. The 0 crowns. I swear on my life, I'm not just saying this because Natalie is sitting here. As a performer, I'm so trigger warning about these type of reviews, and I'm so mad. I don't think there's any value here. I don't think we're tapping into the audience. I think David C. can go ahead and go home. I think he's not worthy of the breath that we're giving him. And for that reason, 0 crowns, David C. Do better. Sorry, do better. I'm mad.
And I did a half crown because I think the only value here is that I get a glimpse at what the set list will be.
That's interesting.
And that the crowd, I mean, I am someone who was a fan of Natalie before knowing her. So I feel like I would fit in with the crowd. I think that I would also be like, oh my God, she's doing Let It Go. Oh my God. And it makes me feel like I'm more of a fan because I felt like this reviewer simply didn't get it.
Yes.
And that makes me feel like I'm closer to the person I'm a fan of because I want to make it better.
Yeah. Agreed. But I want to just say quickly again, I'm not discounting your half crown, but I just want to point out that trend that's I understood the assignment. Listen, David C., your assignment included those little peeks into what the show is going to be. You were hired to do this and hired to review the show, right? By Broadway World, presumably. So I don't give him any credit for that because I think that's expected as a part of the assignment.
I will just throw in, I don't know how this works. I don't know if Broadway World commissions reviews. I don't know if David C. I don't know. I don't know if you're right or wrong. I'm just throwing out, since the world will hear this. I don't know how it works to be a contributor for Broadway World.
Okay.
So I just want to clear the air. Okay. So show first, 0.5 crown, which is insane. So, all right. So let's get into the meat of this. So thank you for sharing this. And we want to, since we have you, we want to know what the impact of this. You mentioned you got this in between 2 performances. So take us back to 2014, and what was that for you?
Sorry, I did a lot alongside. I need a water. Okay, first of all,
Natalie Weiss.
Thank you guys. Thank you for pushing me to do this, because as Trey knows, I was super, super resistant. I'm super triggered by this review because I don't really talk about it, and it's also on the internet for life. And it was so hurtful, and I don't want any fights with anyone.
Yeah.
But so I'll take you back, and then I'll say, first of all, thank you guys, because I needed you back then. And I know, you know, I just met you, but Trey and I have known each other for so long. And obviously I know you're my friend, so you're going to give it a 0 review, blah, 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 or crown. But it is interesting objectively, the things you're saying, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I did feel that way. But basically, when I saw the tweet, I opened it being like, oh my God, I got it. And then I just sobbed. And I was like, Andrew. And he was like, Natalie, why did you Google your name? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm not just searching mean comments. That's no. And so I had to tell the producer that I was like, this is insane. I can't believe I have to go back and do this again. And the thing is, it's not, she can't act. I've heard enough of that. It was a direct attack of me as a person. So it feels so personal. And I had to do the exact same show, and I was so in my head. And then the person who brought me down was like, don't let this get to you. Nobody felt that way. Literally nobody. They loved it because I had such a high meeting the audience. Then there's the other side. I did it. I got through it. And it was I was singing Bring Him Home with a fuck you in my head. This is my interpretation of the song.
Yeah.
But I was, it's a pit every time. Even reading it to him or you reading it again, I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that part. So I would say there's a big memory thing. On the other hand, I will say I took it as a learning experience because Trey has seen many of my shows, and I hope that he would attest to part of the enjoyment of my shows is that I am so besties with the audience. I am chilling out in my living room. So literally, me self-deprecating is on brand of oh my God, ooh, lost my voice, cracked. Oh, that is more to me. I'm not going to change that. That is more I'm perfect. I'm going to crack. I'm going to joke. I literally inhaled my spit on an inhale. I distinctly remember and I went, sorry, because I'm not in a Broadway show where I can't leave the stage. I actually can banter. So that was just take a seat off of your high horse. I am totally self-deprecating and joking. Where I can learn is yes, the drummer, we only had one rehearsal. He messed up 2 things, and I will take that as I probably can't ever call them out. Of course I did it in jest because that's my humor. I wasn't where are my backup singers at? I wasn't excuse me, somebody's singing my note, or you played the wrong thing. I was oh, where'd you go? Or something shady. But I would say I would learn from that. I probably won't ever do that again because that rubbed him the wrong way, and he is allowed to be rubbed. That I was maybe what seemed bitchy to a musician, which I never want to do.
Right.
I thought that we kind of bonded, me and the drummer. I thought that we had this rapport. I think that's probably why I was we had spent 2 days together. So I thought maybe we had that rapport. Okay. I don't remember why we started 17 minutes late. Maybe it was the venue. Maybe I don't even know why. The whole singing, if she really knew how to sing, really gets me. I can't with that. Learning experience, I wrote down some notes. The thing was that I had to do it again. That was super hard.
Yeah.
But, I appreciate all of the things that you guys specifically pointed out about what you're there for, and he didn't get it. That's the thing that really hurt. the fact that like I think the audience was with me, like 𝐾𝐿 jokes, except for the calling the drummer out, which could be viewed as like, whoa, take like Natalie, that don't.
Yeah.
Like I definitely was like, okay. I started second guessing everything. I was like,
I'm sure
everything he said is right. Everything
Yeah.
he said is right. I will never do that again. Not fuck
Yeah.
him. It was, and now looking back, like hearing like objective, like, wait, huh? You know?
Yeah. It's like so clear when you're reading it about someone else that this is complete and utter BS. But I also like, I hear you and that we internalize all of that stuff. And I do too. So I empathize.
Of course. And something you said at the very beginning is like, what do you mean? This is my interpretation.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is something that's very key, especially in, a world that is musical theater where we listen to cast recordings, we think things are a certain way. And where is the creative license? And you weren't doing Les Mis, you were doing a concert and you were singing a male song. So like, why can't you do it?
Not even a concert, a cabaret, which like, I don't know the definition of cabaret, but I think any cabaret that I've ever seen, there's always going to be a like different take on a classic. I mean, who wants to hear a straight classic over and over again? We've all heard it before. We're coming to the cabaret to hear a different take on it.
So I have a question. Did you alter the show at all?
Oh,
or
for the second
did you
day?
never really? Yeah, and then in general, moving forward, because you said it was a lot. There were a lot of lessons for you as an artist and moving forward.
I would say, I definitely did not change Bring Him Home in terms of what they said. I probably didn't start 17 minutes late. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
who knows?
You were singing when they were walking in.
Like,
Right,
literally.
exactly. You're like, I'm early.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then,
So no, not
no,
really. You were able
I definitely
to own
Good.
didn't call
yourself.
out the drummer.
Yeah,
Right.
right. I think that's, I forgot about that part. I think that's like a good lesson to take away because we don't know how these things are interpreted by an audience. Even if like you guys are up there joking, like I guess it can be misinterpreted. I don't know.
I feel like, I guess, like we've talked about how you do have a thin skin, but like you've been in the public eye for a very long time. Like what would your advice be to your younger self? Like how do you keep producing and not hiding in a hole somewhere?
I guess people have said to me, if you're on the internet, the more known you get, the more haters you're going to have. And so you're doing something right if people are talking, but it's hard.
Yeah.
Because not everyone can like you. You can't serve everyone. I'm like, what do you mean?
Right.
Yeah. No, I do know.
I also I want to end this little section here. Like, yes, obviously, like, you're sitting here with us and there's like perhaps a position with which to take. But I would just say, as authentic as possible, I remember when David and I went to see your show at the High Line and we were in the front row.
Oh my God.
And I feel like I had never, I feel like I'm getting emotional, but I feel like I was like so taken by what your specific talent that you just like God-given possess. And it was like, it makes me feel emotional because I feel like so many people want to be able to contribute to the world and have an impact on people. So it makes me feel really crazy that someone wouldn't get that or would twist it in a way to be cunty or like it makes me so disappointed that we feel like we have to tear people down when it's like just the simple gifts that you have are so radically insane for someone to not appreciate it. Like it pains me because it's just a waste of energy and time.
Totally
And
agree.
if we could just all add positivity, like we wouldn't have this podcast.
Right.
But like,
That's true.
what's the point? Like, what's the point at the end of the day?
Totally. Yes. I concur with all of that. I hate this stuff. Whew.
All right, let's move on.
All right.
So thank
let's
you
everybody
for
grab
sharing
some
that.
tissues. And should we take another quick game break? Trey, what do you think?
I think it's time for us to play a fast game, Natalie.
It is time for us to get serious in case we weren't serious already.
All right, we're going to crank up the heat.
Yeah, if you thought that burner was all the way up, you're wrong because there's a few more levels.
So, Natalie, we have some questions for you.
We have some very serious questions, Natalie. It's time for some strong opinions. We want to hear your first gut reaction. There's no wrong answer, just your immediate response.
Chelsey and I will alternate pulling questions out of our respective kvetcher hats. So we're going to put, Natalie, we're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. And you will try to answer as many of these either or strong opinion questions as you can. And if you get more than 8, we're going to send you a 5 crown t-shirt in the mail.
Okay.
So let's begin.
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1, go!
Vibrato or straight tone?
Vibrato.
Love on Top or Bohemian Rhapsody?
Love on Top.
Food poisoning from a restaurant. Would you go back?
No.
Streisand or Celine?
Celine.
Rodgers and Hammerstein or Sondheim?
Sondheim.
Sung Through or a book musical?
Book musical.
Bachelor or Bachelorette?
Bachelor.
Eponine or Elphaba?
Eponine.
Lose your voice or lose your savings?
Lose my savings.
Coach one song for eternity. She used to be mine or Waving Through a Window?
She used to be mine.
Liza or Judy?
Judy.
Fast vibrato or slow vibrato?
Slow vibrato.
Person with elite status, turn on or turn off? Oh,
I didn't hear what you said. I thought you said elite.
Sorry, I
Elite.
missed
Oh,
a
I love
word.
it. Elite. I
Person
love
with elite reviewer status, I should say. Person with
Oh.
elite reviewer status. Is that a turn on or a
off,
turn
I guess.
off? Turn off. Okay.
it. Those are so clever. Who wrote those?
We did.
both
You guys
did.
are so clever.
Okay.
1,
Natalie,
2,
you
3,
killed it. Holy
4,
Toledo.
5, 6. You got 6 of mine.
That's so funny because normally I'm either or. I'm like neither, and I was like so clear about some of them.
You got 7 of mine, Natalie. So you crushed
You got 13, Natalie.
13.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Wait, can I ask you
More.
one more that we
Yeah.
didn't get? American Idol or The Voice?
Oh, The Voice.
I have 3 more.
Which-
Yeah.
Should I do?
Yeah, let's just do them.
Okay. Singing on a cruise ship or singing at a theme park?
Theme park.
Would you see an ENT with a 3-star rating?
No.
Would you rather be a reality star or a soap star?
Reality.
Yellow cab or Uber?
Uber.
Understudy or swing?
Understudy.
And this is the final. Flat or sharp?
Sharp.
Okay.
Sorry,
Oh, interesting. My ears are so
We had a lot of
sensitive.
fun making those up.
Yes, we did.